This is the demonstration video for insulation removal. We're going to be going over a few mechanical tools and also a thermal wire stripper in a moment. We have a 20 gauge wire with us today and a 24 gauge wire with us today. This is a very commonly used mechanical stripper that you'll see in almost everyday use. This is the one that we'll be using today, and we'll go over in a moment on how to use it. We're going to be using that with this 20 gauge wire. And this is what a thermal insulation removal tool or thermal stripper looks like. Many brands, many companies make these, and it works the similar way as this mechanical stripper that we'll be using. If we can get this in the microscope camera here, you can see the teeth on here in the bottom left are actually designated per wire gauge. So we're going to select that 20 gauge hole there for our 20 gauge wire. And the way this guy works is we're going to get our 20 gauge wire in that 20 gauge hole, clamp it down just lightly. It's actually a two-handed tool, okay? You want to use your other hand while you squeeze with your right or your dominant hand, and then you also want to squeeze with this hand as well. We only want to separate that insulation from the wire. We don't want to pull it off. We just want to add just a little separation. So I'm going to give it a light squeeze here, and we'll see that separation happen. Boom, just like that. Okay? We can see that I didn't pull the insulation all the way off the wire. Lightly release, pull out. And then to finish this, we're going to use our hands to twist and remove the rest of the insulation as we twist. And what that does, it keeps the lay of the wire perfect, how it was intended to be. Okay? Now the heat removal tool, or the thermal strippers, work a very similar way. They have holes in the bottom. Let's see if I can get that in scope here. They have holes in the bottom that define which wire gauge you're going to be using, actually. And in this case, this is 24 gauge wire. We're going to go with the second hole from the bottom here. Now this is going to be a slightly different action, but just as unique, just as difficult. It's going to be more of a pinch in, a remove slightly, a twist, and then a pinch. And you can do that in each direction, or you can kind of twist both hands a little bit here. Everybody works out their own technique that works, but the goal is to not nick the strands, the individual strands, under the insulation. So that's why we're going to release the pressure as we rotate. So I'm going to stabilize my hands by touching them together here, and going to that bottom hole. Let's see if I can get that here. Right about there, that bottom hole. I am letting the heat do the work, releasing slightly, rotating. Let the heat do the work, release slightly, rotate. Okay? Now, let's switch into the big microscope camera here. You can see just there that we made that slight gap. You can't see any silver under that insulation, but you can see that we made a nice gap there. Now the goal here is to do something very similar to we did the last one. We're going to pull and rotate as we go. Pull and rotate. Now this can be difficult. Having gloves on helps because it helps you grip a little bit. Okay, if you need to get a little bit of a fingernail in there to get that started. Okay, there we go. Okay. Now when I did pull off there, I did pull and didn't twist as much as I wanted to, but we're going to take a look and see. That insulation looks pretty good. Let's see if we can get less of a glare here. There we go. Strands look pretty good there, okay? So we're going to compare that to our 20 gauge wire here. Focus, focus. Beautiful. Here we go. So that's the idea of mechanical and thermal strippers.